What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we are going to be assessing whether or not we are addicted to Pokemon Go. I ended up finding a quiz that we can take, but to make this fun, I want you to take it along with me. If any of the statements ring true to you, you'll simply add up a point, and then at the end, we will determine, based on the number of points that you have, whether or not you are addicted. There has been so much talk about this because of the event burnout in Pokemon Go, just so many events happening. People are kind of like at their dire straits. And then I also watched a video by Fit City kind of talking about the dark side of Pokemon Go, along with whether or not he was addicted and kind of what the game did to him. So if you do want to check out that video, definitely check it out in the description. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So statement number one. You go out of the house without any other purpose but to go monster hunting. Every time you step out, you're already thinking about which creature you would like to catch. Yeah, I honestly, yes, I would say yes to this. I think I go out more in public because of Pokemon Go than I do really any other reason. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing though, because I'm pretty much an antisocial person in general. So in some ways, this game has gotten me out more than what I would have in the past, but apparently that could be some sign of an addiction. I do go out specifically for the game, so we're giving ourselves a point on that one. So let's go ahead and jump into number two. Number two says, bad weather does not stop you from going out. For the first time in my life, I've never seen so many people out and about when it's raining hard, and people have their heads bent on the app. This actually is true for me as well. I ended up witnessing this recently where we have some Giratina raids, and because of it being like a part dragon type, we got some super bad weather where I lived at. It was super just crazy outside and windy, so it boosted the dragon typings. But people were super excited about that because they're like, wait a minute, we can go do some raids and get the weather boosted version of it. And then at least for where I live, the windy weather isn't very common. So although it was storming really bad, it was very cold, people were excited about it because of the game, along with myself. So unfortunately, we're giving ourselves another point. Number three, you attend lure parties. I guess that's a thing. I don't know. I feel like maybe more in the beginning that was kind of a thing, but for me personally, this is a big no. So we are still stuck at 2. Let's go ahead and jump into number 4. You carry a power bank every time you go out. The power bank has now become an essential gadget you need to bring. It is for survival. Now, I can say I have seen a lot of people do this. I, for one, am actually not guilty of this. I do, however, always try to make sure that my phone has a sufficient charge before I actually go out to play, but I'm not always carrying around a power bank pretty much everywhere I go, with an exception to Community Day, just because we do a PvP tournament and then we do Community Day, so I could be out for like 4 to 5 hours. I definitely try to bring one then, but I don't think that I necessarily fall into this category, so I'm giving it a big X. We are still at 2 points. Let's go ahead and jump into number 5. The Pokestop is the place to go. You start going to parks and malls like never before, and the decision where you eat is based on where the Pokestop is. I feel like this is a quiz that my wife is giving me because legitimately I used to do this. I used to pick certain places because I knew that it had Pokestops. But in my defense, I live in a rural area where there's just not an abundance of Pokestops. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to go out, if I'm going to go do this, I would like to be able to play, since I can't just play, you know, somewhere around like where I live or something. Okay, I'm addicted. All right, there's point number 3. Now we got 3 points. Let's go ahead and jump into number 6. Most of the messages you share with your friends in your group chat are photos of your latest catches. This is getting a little scary because, to be honest, like Facebook, I really don't use it anymore, let alone talking to my friends on it. To be honest, I really only use like Facebook, for example, just to talk about Pokemon Go with some of my raid groups, where we're talking about different Pokemon we've caught and just kind of some different things. What are friends anymore? Number 7, you don't want to drive. You start to commute or ride with a friend so you can spend more time hunting. Yeah, I guess so, but I mean, to be honest, I think in this case, that's good that you want to do that, as opposed to being the one driving and doing it. That's not always safe, so hey, I'm gonna definitely give this one a thumbs up. This is a type of thing you'd want to do. I don't think this means an addiction though necessarily. The true addiction would be kind of like disregarding safety and then being like, you know, I'm driving, also got 5 phones with me. To me, that would be a sign of addiction. Not necessarily this one, but in this case, I guess we're technically addicted point-wise, so I'll go ahead and add on a point. So in total, we have 4 points. Number 8, you're meeting your friends more often and organizing meetups to go Pokemon hunting together. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what you do with people that you play Pokemon Go with. You're lucky, however, if you have friends from beyond the game that you can take into the game. But for the most part, I actually play with a lot of people who just like to play Pokemon Go and not necessarily friends from like outside of that, or at least in my scenario. I don't know, maybe you're a little bit different. So I guess in this case, I'm gonna give this one a no. I don't specifically meet up with friends or anything. It's mostly just people I've met through the game and yes, developed a friendship, but not like friends outside of it, if that makes any sense. Number 9, you go out of your way to pass by the most Pokestops, even if it is the farthest or takes longer. Hey, look, I think all of us addicts have done this, right? Like, I've designed routes to where it's the most efficient way to go to work or to go somewhere else, but it's not efficient in the time sense. It's efficient in the most Pokestops possible, the best route, the most optimal route in that way. I'm definitely guilty of picking out certain routes in this way, so we're gonna go ahead and give ourselves a point. Ladies and gentlemen, we are up to 5. Number 10, you know all of the locations of Pokestops and gyms within your 5-mile radius. This is getting a little scary because you know you are kind of addicted to the point where you don't even necessarily need to know the names of roads, the names of locations. You know the names of the gym signs. You know the names of the Pokestop signs, where it's just something random, right? Like some random statue in your area or something. You already know where it is just by the name of the Pokestop. I would say that I definitely know this. I think more rural players can definitely relate to this one. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give myself another point. That is 6. Number 11, you exercise more and maybe unknowingly because of the amount of time that you spend playing the game. I don't think I fall under this one. I think for me personally, I want to do as little exercise as possible while I'm playing. So like living in more of a rural area, I'll tend to like take my moped places like quite a bit and then maybe kind of walk around. But for the most part, I've done a lot of like raid hopping where you're not necessarily like having to exercise and they're so far apart that it would be pretty much impossible to like walk them. So at least in this case for me personally, I don't think I'm like over exercising myself, especially without being like aware of it. So I'm not giving myself a point on this one. Number 12, you research tips and tricks and try to find ways to expand your collection or increase your experience points. If you think you're addicted because you do this, I think that's just playing smart. But then to make it on a whole other level, I'm not just researching that stuff, I'm creating it. I'm making videos on it. So like, what does that make me? I feel like I probably have to give myself 2 points on this. We're up to 8 points. I'm getting a little nervous now because I know the scale. I am saving it for the end for you to take a look at. So let's go ahead and roll into the next one. Number 13, instead of using navigation apps like Waze, who uses Waze? Come on, put up Google Maps there. When you drive, the Pokemon Go app is on your phone while driving or biking. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think about it from like a navigation standpoint, but I will say that the Pokemon Go app has helped me find things when I'm in like kind of like weird random places just because of understanding the map and your orientation, and maybe sometimes something shows up in the game that doesn't necessarily show up on like Google Maps. As weird as that sounds, I've definitely used Pokemon Go to find places much easier than someone else trying to like look it up on Google Maps. I do think it's easier, but I don't think I've ever chosen Pokemon Go as a navigation method over something else, so I'm not giving myself a point on this one. Number 14, you buy from the Pokemon shop. That means you're addicted if you just spend money on a game? Like, the game is free. Like, would you call someone an addict because they spend 60 bucks to buy a game and then maybe like no money like after that? Or, you know, like what if you only spend like 10, 20 bucks on Pokemon Go and not even the equivalent of like another game? I don't know about this one. I feel like this one probably needs to be thrown out. But technically, yes, I have bought from the Pokemon shop, so I guess that makes me an addict. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this one. I'm not really sure on that. I'll go ahead and give myself a point just because it is fitting the criteria. We are up to 9 points. And ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to get into the 15th and final question. You have been watching the Pokemon animated series just to learn more about the history of the monsters and the characters. No. You've been watching FLW videos to learn more about these different Pokemon, the new generations, everything. No. I'm totally joking. Now, I personally have not looked at the anime for like a source of information. I don't really have that much time in that way to do it. I would rather see like just some grouped together list or something like that, going over stats, going over movesets. And so like for me personally, like I'm always checking out Game Press or PokemonGoHub.net, just like some of those websites, or PokeBattler, because I like to get it more in bulk and then dissect it that way. I'm not trying to watch it through an anime for information. I would definitely watch it for entertainment, but not to like learn more about it for sure. So I'm giving myself an X on that one. So I don't know, we got like 9-10 points or something. So if you go ahead and check this out, we do have the scale for you, 0 to 7. Hey, it's just a face, don't worry about it. You're just curious, you're good, you're not addicted in any way. 8 to 12, it's becoming serious. So that is where I fall into line. It is hilarious though that they're talking about when you reach level 25 or above. Woo! Yeah, no, I mean, we all know how easy it is now, but I think this was written before the friendship system got like introduced. So 13 to 15, you're a certified Pokemon addict. Woo! Okay, so we did not qualify for it in this case, but you're gonna have to let me know how you did on the quiz. Are you an addict of this game? Is that a problem? Because some people can do very well with it. They can, you know, put a lot of time into it, still be functional at the same time, and then other people, like Pokemon Go, has taken kind of like over their lives, which is an unfortunate situation, and it is probably a little bit more serious than what you would kind of like think about initially. Like being addicted to games and stuff is a real thing. So it is something that I would like for you to like try to voice out to people. You may find somebody in the comment section actually who's kind of like experiencing some of the same things. And like I said, check out Fitz City's video. He kind of talked about his own personal experience. And I think it's just like important in general to talk about it. So definitely make sure you do. But hey, anyways, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And I will see you next time. I wanted to extend a huge thank you to the supporters over at Patreon. You definitely make this possible, and I 100% appreciate this support. If you are interested in supporting my channel on Patreon, definitely feel free to check out the link in the description.